So Karen, do you want to be next?
Hi everyone, I'm Karen. I'm from Brazil. I teach English for lawyers, mainly in law firms and multinational firms, multinational companies in legal departments. And my experience with online education started last year. I had to learn the hard way, but yeah, my students were all very patient. We were learning together, and I think it's working very well.
Cool. Welcome. Bruno?
It's good to see you.
It's very good to see you too. We know from many different occasions with Karen. So Bruno, do you want to be next?
Sure.
It's
Sorry, okay, sorry, I'm late.
Yeah.
Okay, so hi, Bruno. I'm living in Finland and finishing my studies to be a primary classroom teacher. And just, well, yeah, and I don't know. I just came from eating, so my head is all around the place. Just happy to be here and listen Marko and see what all people have to say. And yeah, thank you.
Do you have some experience in online education that you want to share?
Not really, not that much. Yeah, so I want also to learn more about that.
Yeah. All right. Then David, there.
Hello. I am based in Sweden. My online experience is basically just incessant meetings. And maybe before all this pandemic hit was some attempts at trying to learn kind of self-motivated learning of languages mostly, which was mostly ineffective. So I've just really struggled with motivating myself to learn things, I guess, online. So yeah, I'm just here to find out a bit more about what you can recommend, really.
Cool. Welcome. Olivia?
I'm Olivia from the United States. I'm a retired educator, and my only online education experience has been with conferences like the Summerhill one. And that's about it.
Okay. Hope you get some new ideas.
Well, the other part was helping my granddaughters with their schoolwork the last year and a half when they were during the pandemic. But again, it was just using Zoom and working with them.
Yeah. Cool. So welcome.
Thank you.
And then there's Elsa.
Hi, I'm here, but I'm not sure what I'm doing. I just want to hang out and listen. Is that okay?
Cool. That's perfectly fine.
Thank you. Thank you.
Then there's Monisha.
Hi, I just joined the session, so I don't exactly know what you all are discussing, but I think you're asking about your online experience to people.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a 9-year-old son who goes to a democratic school in India, in Bangalore. And so now that everything is online, and also my work, I'm an architect, and all meetings are usually online, and we are always looking for which key to press and what to say and who are we talking to? And but especially with the child, it's they are so hands-on and they are so zoned in and keyed in, and they know all the terminologies and they know how to hang upside down on the screen. And so it's just watching him that is more my experience of the online world than my own, actually.
I can imagine. All right, thank you very much. Welcome, Toyn. Then Danuxila. If you cannot use your microphone, you can also chat on the text chat. Then we have Jen. Jen, can you hear us? Hopefully you can, maybe later on. So was that everyone? Sotirios, I asked you earlier, but are you now there? Maybe not. Okay. So my name is Marko Koskinen, and I'm from Finland. And I've been running an online school for about 10 years. And I can quickly tell the history of the school, so I get kind of a understanding where I come from. Well, first of all, I was inspired by Summerhill about 25 years ago, and that's why I'm also here and part of the organizing team. And so after reading about the Summerhill, or the Summerhill book, it totally kind of revolutionized my view of education. I had been reading some quite critical psychological books before, and I had gone through a kind of a self-review or self-research before that, which helped me to understand the kind of psychological aspects of the education better. But Summerhill gave the understanding that young people can be fully trusted about their own education and can be treated equally in an educational setting. Thomas, welcome. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
A bit low volume, but otherwise
How about
fine.
now? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm so glad for the whole online experience here, and I'm saying hi to Bruno and Zoe specifically. But I saw about the educational platforms as your talk. I'm a computer programmer, and I'm a big fan of all things Google, and I'm very aware of Google Classroom. And so I'm looking forward to hearing what you're going to share about whatever it is you're going to be presenting here. So big thanks for everything you're doing.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, I was just telling about my history, how I ended up starting an online school. So after getting into this new understanding of democratic education, I thought that maybe we could change the teacher education, and that could slowly, gradually change the education as a whole. So I applied to the teacher education. I was planning to become a computer engineer before, but then I decided to do something about the education. So I applied to the teacher education in Finland, Helsinki University, not because I really wanted to be a regular teacher, but in order to change the teacher education. And after I had been studying for about half a year, it kind of became evident that teacher education was not serving well any kind of change in the education. So in one lecture, I went in front of the lecture hall and told everybody that I'm not going to be participating in any testing anymore, because I don't think it makes any sense for the university to test us who are supposed to be teaching students in some other ways than testing. So that kind of started a snowballing effect in the university, and we ended up starting a totally new teacher education line, which is still running after 10 years or 15 years almost. So that was kind of first win for me, which gave me courage to try other things. So the next thing that I did was I went to do an internship in the Sudbury Valley School in Massachusetts. I was there for 3 months to kind of get the idea how the school is actually operating, to be able to start my own school. And it raised so many questions that I ended up doing everything else for 4 years before I was able to finally feel that I'm ready to start my own school. So I did a lot of substitute jobs, tried many crazy things in regular schools, failed many times. So I've been, altogether, I've been doing maybe 10 to 15 years, all kinds of substitute jobs in primary, secondary, middle school, and also in kindergarten. So I had got kind of a broad view of the Finnish education field. So in 2005, I started my own school, the Phoenix School, which wasn't an online school. It was a regular physical democratic school. But since in Finland, even homeschoolers have to follow the national curriculum, so we couldn't give a kind of we couldn't apply the Sudbury model as such, because we still had to do some things regulated by the government. But since the national curriculum in Finland is so flexible, we could pretty much do anything we wanted, as long as the content that was in the curriculum was somehow fulfilled. In the beginning, we used another service, an online platform, which is offered by another school. And our students, while being physically in our school, they used those online courses to get through the material that was required. So that was helpful, but it was kind of old-fashioned. The courses in the school were based on the study books and tests after them. So there wasn't really anything new about the studying itself. And we got some students who were not really into that kind of studying. So after 2 years, we were actually told by the ministry that we cannot use the online system anymore because it's meant for adults. So we had to quit using that and start building some ideas of our own. So my basic idea was that if I just go through the national curriculum and make some questions and big tasks that the students need to do, that would cover the curriculum, and they could choose any question or any task at any point to do, and that could serve them, and it could give them more freedom to study on their own way. And I did this on paper. We had a kind of portfolio for every student with lots of these questions and assignments. and they started filling their portfolio based on that. So on the fourth year, we ran into so many different kinds of challenges that I decided that I really need a break, and we ended the physical school. But the idea kept running in my head that maybe this could be realized some other way. So after 2 years, in 2010, I came up with the idea that actually, because I'm a programmer also, that I could create a system with all these assignments online to give anybody access to the same curriculum and same possibility to study. So I started coding, and I went through all of the textbooks of the 9 years elementary education and wrote about 4,000 questions and assignments for the system. And it took me 2 years to finish everything. Yeah, in late 2011, I think we announced that the school is open for everyone. And after that, it's been running. The platform is still there and working. It's getting a bit old, and so I'm starting a new one. Started building a new one this year. But the idea is still the same. And we have lots of questions divided by the subjects, school subjects, and into topics. And all of the questions are available for the student to pick any of them at any time. The Finnish curriculum doesn't dictate at what year you have to study at some certain topics. So basically, if the student starts in the beginning, age 7, they have all of the 9 years of curriculum available for them, and they can pick any topic at any point to study. So any of the 4,000 or almost 5,000 questions they can choose from. So it gives them almost unlimited choice. So that's pretty much where we are at the moment. So this was kind of a long introduction to what's my background and what the school that I'm working on is based on. So we have some new faces here. I'll give you, we did a round already asking about people telling where you're from and what's your experience about online education. So maybe Manu, you want to go first?
Hello, I'm from Brazil, and I'm a mother, I'm a teacher, and I have both of my children in homeschooling at the moment, and they both love games. And so I think even before the pandemic, I started like trying to learn more about online education and which platforms I would be able to use with them to make it interesting, or to get into their world, like Minecraft education. And it's something completely new, and it was very difficult to me as I don't have any background in programming, for example, but I was trying to learn Scratch so I could help them with Minecraft education. But it was also fun, I think, like discovering a big range of possibilities that I could have online. And when the pandemic started, then my teaching, I am an English teacher, and I had to change the whole perspective and practice that I have of game playing and interactive learning to an online platform very quickly. So it was really good that I had learned with my children a little bit, so it didn't become a boring or trying to imitate a presential class, which happens quite often. I wasn't trying to imitate, I tried to use the online tools. So I was very interested when I saw you on the schedule. I was like, oh my God, maybe it's going to be really good to share some ideas and learn from others' experience. So I'm very grateful to be here. And I'm sorry I'm late. I was in another class before, so that's why I couldn't come earlier. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks for being here. So who's still Calliope? Calliope, if you can hear us, you can unmute yourself and introduce yourself if possible. If not, then we have Maria.
Hello.
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 Hello, Marco. Okay, sorry.
So maybe we take Maria first and then Sotirios.
Hello, nice to see you, Marco, and meet you. Thank you for your help.
Yeah, no problem. So maybe you can tell where you're from and what's your experience about online education.
I am from Greece and online education. Okay, I am working in elearningindustry.com as a manager of the editorial team there, and I have read so many stuff on everything that has to do with e-learning globally. But I would like to focus on what could happen to transform education and help to the all what you're doing.
Yeah. Cool. I think this is going to be a really interesting discussion we're going to have. I created a document. I'll just share it on the chat so you can contribute in it. Share. You can change. There. So then, Sotirios, do you want to introduce yourself now?
Hello. Hello, I'm Sotirios from Greece. My experience with online education is during the pandemic, mainly teaching. And I have done a course in the Open University completely online as a student, a master's degree. I was in the other side, like more passive, but I liked it. I can say I liked it, especially in the level of tertiary education, first degree or second degree. I think it's very nice to do it online, completely online, from my experience. Yes. And I can say a word for this workshop that we talked before a bit.
Yeah.
Yes. I made a workshop online here. This I have made it in a public school, and it gives like an opportunity, I think, to democratic education. And I think it can work online as well. I want to request now online to ask for a special date, if you can invite somebody to host the room, and to invite everyone to come to it. It's about accepting, including everyone as they are, like we say, come as you are, to show us what he loves. And with this, to create a mosaic and connect to find the pieces of a puzzle and give a name to our project, to present an idea through what everyone has to offer, what he wants to give, to create an idea without prior existence of a central idea. The idea is just to come as they are, as with what they love, everyone. That's it. Thank you a lot, and thank you for the flying support and your presentations, your lectures so far, and what how to say it, what we receive from you, like what you bring with you. I can't say the word in Greek. Maybe in Greek, Maro can help me. Avra, what you εκπέμπεις, ό,τι εκπέμπεις. I can't find the word right now. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks for being here. All right. So maybe this Marolia.
Hi there. I
Hello.
had difficulty unmuting. How's everyone? Hi. Thanks, Marko, for giving us the opportunity to speak. I have been trying all day to join the talks, but I have been having problems with signing up. So I just joined. I'm very happy. So the experience that I have with online education is mainly firstly with my son, who is 11-year-old, and last year he had to, join everyone, but online for the first time in his life, because he had never used computer or mobile phone before. And actually he told us this year that he would prefer to have his English classes online. He preferred online instead of face-to-face, and he goes to a Waldorf Steiner education school in Greece. So, he loves playing and singing and all this stuff, but I think as a foreign language, as it is taught in Athens, in Greece, maybe online, has more to offer. Anyway, and my own experience is that in the last year and a half, I am running an online experiential emotional intelligence incubator for small business people, for women and men to connect with their hearts and follow their dreams, make a lot of money, get rid of all the beliefs and roles of the past, and find their dreams and make them reality. Okay, so initially when I started this, working with people from all around the world, my mentors would say, you cannot do this kind of systemic work, group work online. And I was thinking, okay, I'm going to try, because, I have been through that and I know that it works when it's done correctly. I have been through systemic work myself, face-to-face, but I was certain about the results. So I said, you know what, I'm doing it. And now a year has passed by, and the first people are graduating from the program, which is an annual program, very intensive, and the results are incredible. So I think, if we have a balance, we can have everything, we can use everything with the right balance and benefited from everything. My challenge at the moment is not my work, it's, I'm trying to find the right school for my son, because he is going to high school next year. And actually I'm considering moving to UK to come to Summerhill. So to go to Summerhill School, I'm trying to find the best school at the moment, for him, because I want him to be a child more. Okay. So that's from me. Thank you for having me.
That's really nice. Thanks. So do we have, Derry just came. We are doing a round telling where you're from and what's your experience about online education.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I can't hear myself. But that's just that's quite a good thing. Quite good. Makes a change. Yeah. The aspect of online education that I'm particularly interested in and involved in at present is the experiment that's about to start, or it has started, at the Ottawa Catholic School Board. Do you know about it, Marko? There's they have a virtual elementary school and a virtual high school, and a network of 78 schools, elementary and high, maybe a couple of middle schools in there as well. And you have to ignore the word Catholic, really, because it's actually very progressive. They've created what they call the Hope Project, and they're reaching out to unschoolers, homeschoolers, anybody who wants to use some aspect of the publicly financed school system for their own purposes. And there's a group in Canada called Unschooling School, which has been arguing very strongly for this. The public pay for the schools, but they can't get from them what they want, what they need. They get from the public school system what the public school system decides to give them. So to my knowledge, the experiment at the Ottawa County School Board, Ottawa Catholic School Board, is the first time that a publicly funded organisation is offering flexible learning facilities for no cost. Well, no cost if you live in Ontario. You have to pay a bit if you live in British Columbia or Quebec. So that's my interest right now, watching this project unfold, Marko.
Wow, sounds interesting. Yeah, I'll have to check more about that. Was there someone else? Tatia?
Hello. I don't know if I have missed so much because I recently joined.
No worries. We're just doing around everybody, telling where you're from and what's your experience in online education.
Yeah, well, a year ago, I just finished my master's in educational technology, and because I am our family moves a lot. We're living in a country. We're international family speaking 3 different languages and live in the country with the 4th language. So I thought that maybe enrolling my kids into online education or introducing some new EdTech tools, educational technology tools would be a way to go, because we're very limited with our school choices and schooling is not an option. And the more I learned about it, the less satisfied I got, to be honest. I realized that this is really not going to, not working, at least for us. And also, once the pandemic hit, I was very, very excited. I did my thesis and also published my first paper about like the silver linings of Corona pandemic, because it would introduce some new professional development opportunities for the teachers. And yeah, it did maybe a bit, but having kids at home and screaming on the 3rd day, I was already praying that it would stop, and so that I could send my kids back to school. I don't know. That's my experience.
All right, nice to hear. So I think maybe now everyone has said. Zoe, if you can use your mic and want to introduce yourself, you have the floor.
Hi, I'm going to be driving soon again, so quickly I can introduce myself. I'm Zoe. I'm in Greece. I'm a dance movement educator. My practice is called Ensoma, and it's about maintaining neuroplasticity. And my experience in online teaching has been only since the pandemic, but it was very intensive and incredibly interesting because what I teach is physical and is based on touch. So it's been a huge leap in my practice, and it's been incredibly helpful. From the other side, my experience of online learning was my 2 teenage children having to do online education. Education in Greece is state education is compulsory. We have no options unless you're in Athens or in Thessaloniki, where you can go to 1 or 2 different types of private schools only, and only up until 11 years old or so. So their experience was and continues to be terrible, really, really dangerous. And at the moment, I'm very interested as part of Spring Academy, which is a project I'm a member of, to develop a platform with Marko's help and other people's help, where we can take advantage of the technology to connect micro communities, in-person micro learning communities, for hybrid learning. So hybrid learning is what I'm really interested in, and keeping embodied learning going even on screen. That's pretty much it from me. Thank you.
Thanks, Zoe. We have 2 more new people. Vinananda. We cannot hear you right now. We can see you. You have problems with your microphone? We cannot hear you. Yeah, I'll get back to you. Yeah. So we have Sorina.
Oh. Now you have me. Hi.
Yeah.
There's something with my camera sometimes.
Yeah.
Hi, nice to see you.
Welcome. So, Sorina, did you already tell about where you're from and what's your experience with online education?
So yeah, I'm the founder of a small democratic school in Romania, and I work with children and parents alike, with conscious parenting. That's with parents, of course, and with children. And I'm also trying to coach my teachers to understand the democratic ways. That's not very hard, actually, because they're really young and nice. So yeah, we're trying to implement as much as we can and to let go of everything that we can. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right. And then we have Laura.
Hi there. I don't know how well you can hear me. I'm actually driving right now. So this is the benefit of an online conference. My background is I was a primary teacher for 7 years in London, in the UK. And then in the last 10 years, I've been working, making online learning experiences. Worked at companies like FutureLearn, and at the moment I work for the Raspberry Pi Foundation, which is a competing digital making charity. But yeah, my career at the moment is making online learning experiences. So I was very interested in this topic.
Yeah. Cool. All right, we have very, very interesting people here. So I shared the document on the chat. You can open it and I can maybe share it here. It's nothing, there's nothing really there yet, so we need to fill in something. So I started making some questions, and it seems that you've added some more, which is great. So, Peter. So the first question for me was, what can online platforms offer at the moment? And I think many of the problems with online platforms, the current one, existing ones, have been that they've been following the traditional method of education, or the traditional kind of culture of education. So there hasn't been many like great innovations in education, even though the technology, I think, would allow many things. So as someone said that gaming is a huge thing, Manu, that for kids, they really like to play different kinds of games. And that's kind of a natural way for them to learn things. And at least for me, what I've noticed when kids play computer games, that they are interested in the game as long as they learn something new, as long as it's challenging for them. Then it's something meaningful. But as soon as it gets boring, they just quit. So I think this is a kind of a good indication that if we can offer something that keeps young people's interest, then it's teaching them something. And as soon as they stop being interested in the thing that we offer, then it's probably not teaching them anything useful. So it's kind of a good way to check if the platform is functional or not. The people who are from Brazil, the Brazilian government licensed a Finnish learning platform for young children. I think if I can remember the name of it. It's about learning to read and write, basically. And but it was really interesting that the government actually purchased a license for every Brazilian citizen for this platform. So it's free for everyone to use. And they translated and made big advertisements for it. And I think that platform is a really good example of a good learning tool. I have to find that. I just quickly Google what's it called. If someone knows, feel free to tell me. In Finnish, it's called Ekapeli. Looks like this. And I think there's hopefully. See if I can find it. Maybe not. Okay, there's another. I'll try to find it, and maybe it comes to my mind later. But the idea is it's a 3D game where you can modify your own avatar. When you reach certain goals, you can get different kinds of visual elements for your avatar, so they can look very different. And you adventure in a 3D world and do all kinds of challenges. And while doing those challenges, you learn gradually the things that you're hopefully wanting to learn about reading and vocabulary. So that works for young people very well. My approach with our online school was to create a system which would allow young people to kind of fulfill the national requirements with as little effort as possible. Because I think many of the content that is inside the national curriculum is either useless or not very important. So I just wanted to create a tool for them to be get rid of the mandatory stuff as fast as possible, to give them more time to do the actually important stuff. And the way I decided to do it was to just create lots and lots of questions and tasks, so the students can kind of go through the things and just check what they need to know and find the information and be done with it. So they don't have to start reading all kinds of textbooks without any idea of what they're going to learn about it. So it's all question-based. There's the question what you need to know, and then it's up to you how to find the information. So maybe I can at this point do a quick show about how the platform works. So it's a bit old and it looks a bit old. I'll do a quick show about the new version at some point, hopefully. Let's try this one. So the idea was to create something that's also visually at least somehow attractive. So it's colorful. It's there's a lot of stuff there you can play with and interact with. The system calculates how many assignments you have to do each week to stay in your own schedule. So you can show subject by subject how many assignments you're supposed to do. So let's say something. There's geography, for example. Let's see if there's something here. So we have different kinds of questions. This is just a quick example. And the questions can be huge. Like, for example, these two questions here. What is European Union? You can write several novels about it if you want, or you can just answer by a couple of words. So it's up to you. If you're really interested in it, you can dig into the topic deeper and write a big answer. Or if it doesn't interest you at all, you can just get rid of it quickly. That was the main idea behind this. So these kind of questions, for example. And we have some other subjects maybe. And it's also including like arts and crafts and physical education. So we have, in addition to questions, we have all kinds of tasks with the same ideology that we just tell what you need to know or know how to do. And it's up to you how you're gonna learn that skill or that information. Like this kind of assignments. So the revolutionary idea behind this is that because it's a very simple idea, and you can create big contents. You can create one big course in just a couple of hours with this method. So it would be possible to create a platform which would include basically every profession and every study that's available in this kind of form. And it could be made free for all. It could make peer evaluation based. And if you wanted to have credits, you could do the credits in a university, or to have some kind of panel of authors who could accredit you. So this is kind of the big idea that I have at the moment. I'm kind of jumping into the main topic here. So if we could just create lots and lots of questions and make them into meaningful packages, that would allow anybody, any place in the world, to study on their own. Of course, they would need to have some kind of internet connection, but that's also changing due to the space internet, what's it called? The Starlink, for example, that people can access internet anywhere in the world. At the moment, it's very expensive, but it's available. So maybe you can use this as a starting point, or if you have some other ideas you want to dig into. Vedananda, did you get your microphone working? Not yet. Okay, if you can make it, let me know. So yeah, anybody else, or if you want to comment or add something, feel free. Maybe you can raise your hand, or if there's no comments, we can take the next question, or I can ask more detailed question maybe. So at the moment, the challenges I have is, of course, how to find the people who would be interested in building these kind of courses online. My idea is to contact some colleges, some high schools, some vocational schools who could be interested in starting this kind of cooperation. And of course, they could use those courses for their own students, but they could also publish them openly in the platform. So anybody who would be interested in studying to become a professional in some field would find all the questions they need to know in order to become professional in that field in this platform. So I guess my question is, do you think, or what would be the problems in this kind of platform or this kind of system? Or can you come up with some problems or challenges?
Can I?
Yeah, Tadia.
Every time I get to be introduced with a new tool, I get excited because I think, oh, this is so great, and so many new things that the other tools don't provide. But then there comes another question that there is so many of them, I get lost. And well, like one tool may provide something that I really need in one specific for one specific task, and there's another one, and then I came to a conclusion that there's already too much variety. There's already the new tools that are being created are quite similar to each other, while the ones that already exist, they could be some kind of merged into one. I mean, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but if you know the terms about, I read it somewhere, I cannot name the author, about variety and attenuation, and when we don't have the skills, when there's so much coming, and when we cannot contain them, so that's what I wanted to say, that for me, yes, it's pretty, it's cool, and gives me some hopes to solve some of my problems, but it's too much as a parent, as an educator, as a researcher, yeah, all of it. And I want to also answer there is comment about this. He wrote in the chat about for-profit organizations. I don't know about the tool that you introduced. Is it for profit or is it for free? But I agree with Terry, because when I was studying for my master's, there was my colleague who came up with a very nice EdTech tool, and it was something to combine math and music, which I thought it was a very cool idea. It was a very beautifully designed app. And then when I asked for the price, it was so high that I couldn't imagine any one teacher to be able to afford that. And I was like, why are you even doing this if only the fancy private schools are going to be able to implement this? Because that, even though the vision is very good and they want to create and help, I just don't see this gap closing with such products, you know.
Yeah, go ahead, Terry.
Yeah. Well, OutSchool is making a great deal of money, but of course it's making money because it's actually effective. Kids like it, and it understands the kids' desire to be in groups. It's pretty progressive in its methodology. It encourages the asking of questions, and courses can be created at the request of young people through their parents. It has to come through the parents for child protection purposes, but nonetheless, a lot of the courses and activities that are offered, the ideas and the desire for them has come from kids. So it's immensely successful. It's making a lot of money and providing, I would say, a real service, but at North American prices. Although the prices aren't enormous by North American standards, and the groups might have between 6 and maybe as many as 10 participants all chipping in, so the price becomes lower. Nonetheless, North American, what's reasonable in North America isn't necessarily reasonable in Bangladesh. So what worries me here is the social justice aspect of this. Also, of course, there'll be many people in Detroit who can't afford these courses. And what I find particularly exciting about the Ottawa experiment is that this is publicly funded. The service is free to users, but the service is flexible and is adapting what it has to offer to what students and parents want. And as far as I know, it's the only example. If anyone knows of any others around the world, I'd be really glad to hear about them.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Any other comments?
Can I say one more thing? I wrote in the chat about if I may read that, when we introduce such pretty digital tools and then kids get addicted to it, they get rewards and this behaviorist approach. And my kids, I have an examples here that if I give them a great tool and the device, they get so immersed into it that I cannot take it away from them later. And so I'm worried that sometimes are they going to be interested in reading books if there's so much pretty colors and rewards and points and emojis going on in the digital world?
Yeah, very good question. And I would say no, they wouldn't be. At least it would take quite a big of change of mind in order to move from this kind of interactive, very kind of hectic, instant reward-based environment into a slow-paced reading. But I think that's kind of where the role of parents comes into play. So if the parents can offer like very, very nice, warm atmosphere when reading to children, for example, then it gives a different kind of emotional attachment to texts and books and reading and stuff like this. So, yeah.
To be fair to OutSchool, I mean, I can't say that many of the activities are like this, but some of the activities do involve the group reading a book and sharing their experiences and talking about it. And quite a few of the activities involve creative writing and storytelling. So in a way, you can't fault the pedagogy too much, but you can fault the price. So that's my anxiety. And in fact, it's a bit like the proliferation now of democratic schools. The Acton Academies, I don't know if you've come across them, they started in Houston, Texas. A couple of business people were unhappy about the provision locally in the public school system, so they thought, okay, we'll create our own school. And what they came up with was not that different to Sudbury Valley. But the whole purpose, well, it was partly to provide for their own kids, but then being business people, they then started to develop it as a franchise operation. So you've now got Acton Academies all over the United States, the first one in Canada, and the first one about to open in the UK. And that worries me too, because their motive is now quite clearly for profit. It's not to spread creative, futuristic ideas for all the young people of the world. So if you like, they're pretty much contrary to the purposes of the Sustainable Development Goal 4, which is to provide quality education for all kids in the world, not just those who can afford to pay for it.
Yeah. I have one comment about the, I think that Tatja's question about the multitude of different kinds of platforms. And as I said earlier, I think many of them are quite strongly based in the old tradition of education, or then they are kind of games focused on one particular thing. So I haven't come across a comprehensive solution, really, for all education yet, unless you calculate or unless you include Wikipedia as one. But basically, there's no one solution that would kind of help anybody study anything. Do you agree, or has someone found something? Sorina?
Actually, so my two kids are responding very differently to initiatives like OutSchool and other platforms. We use digital platforms. The thing is that what I was amazed to see is after taking some OutSchool courses about Minecraft, right? My son asked us to buy him the books, and he has read about 9 novels, I believe. I mean, big time. It would take me time to do that, and they're all in English, and that's not our native language. So I think it really depends on the child, and I really didn't have any expectations because I didn't know up until he was 10. I didn't even know this kid was reading, because he will never read with me present. He was like, no. And, yeah, so I really didn't know. I had to relax and then relax again because I had no idea what he was doing. But I was amazed because, in the beginning, I thought, so there are no pictures in these books. So in the beginning, I thought he was just pretending. But I never asked them to read. It's like, for me, reading is not, my kid has to read, although I'm very fond of reading. But I didn't use that phrase, like never. I just used it like a natural thing. I mean, if you want to know something, there's the book, there's the whatever, what do you want? So he just got to reading. And at a certain point, he called me and he said, Mom, I have a life lesson from this Minecraft book. And I'm like, yeah, right. Let's see that coming. And he underlined a passage teaching him to, he was trying to teach me not to give up. When it's hard for you, don't give up, because you have responsibilities and whatever, lots of things. But it was really deep. And I'm like, okay, child, what do you want for your birthday? Which was like 4 days ago. And he's like, I want another Minecraft book set. Well, okay, cool, I love it. He didn't ask for a Minecraft game or something. So I think it depends on the kids, because my other kid, my girl, she's into Minecraft and stuff, but she's very chill. She's not so much of a reading type. She's more of a math type, or I don't know, I'm not sure what's exactly in her head, but she's very wise. She's always with the life lessons. So I think she has a different way of learning, a different journey, and he has a different journey, and somehow they each and everyone is doing their own job. So I renounce to the expectations, and I'm like, okay, kid, do you know how to read? Do you know ABCs? Okay, good. If this is going to ever help you, good luck. If not, life stuff, just enjoy it. I don't think we can do something, and maybe we can take them out in the forest and just survive with them for a week, which I kind of did, and it was fun. Yeah, so I think it's the balance. That's our problem, the balance. How do we balance this and that? Somehow, I don't know. We're still evolving on that. Yeah, thanks.
Very interesting. Yeah, that made me come up with another question. I was trying to look if it's already in the list of questions, but like if the main purpose of the online platform is to help the person learn the thing that she or he wants to learn, then what kind of qualities does the platform need to have? I have some ideas, but maybe if someone wants to say something first.
I just wanted to say that I think Sidhu and the PR department at Outschool would love to meet Sunina or her son anyway. I think he'd be an amazing marketer for them. I love the story. I love the story of the secret reader. Really beautiful.
It's amazed me too. Believe me, I didn't expect that. I take no credit in it.
Serena, I'd also like to add that I've had a similar experience with my 9-year-old, where we used to read to him, I mean, you know, the books and the bedtime stories, but he would just be running around, or you would think you're reading to yourself. And then the Minecraft and all of your stories are so similar. And then I mean, he thought, you know, why do people have to learn ABCD? It used to just irritate him. And why do they put it in a sequence anyway, you know? He said, look at numbers. I mean, they don't have to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoever thought of putting it, I mean, after he said A, B, C, he would get irritated. Like, why do I have to say D after that, you know? And so, I mean, that was his thing. I said, why? But numbers are also 1, 2, 3, 4. He said, but, you know, they're independent of each other. You can say 7 first and 10 later and whatever. So I said, no, but it was just for convenience to make a dictionary and to find a word in it. He said, whoever needs to look at a dictionary in today's day and age. I'm talking about online and all of that. He said, you just have to ask. And don't even have to type it, Mama. You just have to ask Google for the word, and that word is there for you. And then that same child, I mean, has learned to read because of his own necessities, of when he's gaming or when he's trying to see something. And it is good that they don't learn to read early in life, because their visual skills are amazing, you know. They stopped to, I saw an older child who had learned to read, and this kid who was younger could say all the names of the different flags of different countries by just looking at the pictures. But the older child who knew the countries couldn't say it as fast because they were trying to read. the words. They can see Japan, which is a simple flag with one circle, red dot. They can't say Japan faster than the younger kid because the younger kid is not reading it. He's just saying Japan, visual. And the older kid is saying, oh, J-A-P and trying to put it together, So it's fine for them to take their time and read whenever they're ready. And I was surprised too to see that, oh yeah, he can read most of it when he wants to, or whatever he wants to read, even if it's a shop or it's, when you're driving, they read exactly what they need to read. And they've learned it on their own. Yeah.
Right. Cool. It's nice. So yeah, because I've been questioning myself this question that do we actually need a platform, or is it better to just have multiple different kinds of platforms where kids can use to learn certain things that they are interested at the moment? my view with my platform was more with the idea that if you want to work on a certain field, if you want to get yourself a profession, then you would have this kind of way of getting this information in a meaningful way. And it would be free for everyone, and it would have this social justice aspect also. But is this kind of approach old-fashioned in a way? Are modern kids, do they need this kind of structure anymore? Or can they just find the information they need whenever they need it? Sorina.
Yeah, I think we would need a couple of teenagers here, or maybe even younger, because they would really be able to tell us how they function, because it's kind of a mystery to me too. I've asked myself the same question like 1,000 times before, because there are many things, many subjects in which I've tried to get the kids interested. And every time I reached that, and until it came into my mind, they were already there, like they've been 1,000 times. And they're like, oh, Mom, you have no idea. This is, and they were telling me really deep stuff about the subject. And I don't even know where they get this information from. I've asked myself if they really need the structure, maybe from an older age. Yes, because the brain is more prepared. So after 14, the brain is more prepared for structure, and they actually ask structure. It's the age when they start asking themselves, what's my place in the world? How is this actually functioning? How do I get into this? So they need a structured thing because they think structured. But with younger kids, they're like just one thing pops out in their minds and they go into it, and they don't stop until they get all that they needed, and then bye-bye. So in what I see, this is the functioning of things. But yeah, there are, like in math, for example, or I don't know, certain subjects, there is a need for like a timeline of things. So you don't get to integrals first and then you learn 1 + 2. So that's for sure. But that's for the easiness of the child. And I don't even follow that sometimes, because they ask like, I want to do what this guy does. So she's in 2nd grade and he's in 5th grade and she wants to, okay, let's do that. And they can understand, no problem. So maybe the structured platforms are more needed when the structured thinking comes natural to them. I'm just saying. But the social part, I believe it's good. I don't know in what form. I'm not sure about this yet. But the social part, that's not bad. For example, in games, and I don't mean social media, or no, what's that? Yeah, social media, like Facebook and stuff. I don't mean that, that's for sure. But I see that children who are playing things together online, they're just chatting, and they can, if somebody says a bad word or something, they just can refuse it. So it's not like somebody's saying it to you in front of you, you know, like the emotion and the impact. They're learning to just choose whatever is going on, and they say, okay, I rejected this guy because he did that and that, and that's about it. Yeah, but the platforms, I think they're really good if they give children like really attractive way of presenting something, and then you may catch the children and they may be interested more and more in what you're talking about there. But we just don't have to expect them to function in a certain way at younger ages. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah. Manu.
Yeah, I actually wrote a question there as well. When you think, it seems like most platforms we have, they are very game-based in a traditional way. They have a reward system. So it's always thought that the children is going to get points or rewards, which always reminds me of a grade system or a traditional way of teaching and learning. And to be honest, here I never got my children engaged in one of those, because they don't see the point of like answering questions and getting points or stars, because it has never been like this. So they don't like it. Even if the platform seems attractive, even if they have interesting videos and animations, and they don't care. They like Minecraft education because it's completely open. So they can choose if they want survival or if they want just creative mode. And even if I give them a challenge, like, okay, they're interested about sustainability, so let's try to make this house more sustainable. But they don't have to stick to that particular challenge. They can create a whole new thing from that and keep going, just for the pleasure of doing this and thinking and creating, which I think is closer to like self-driven learning and a more free education than most platforms can offer. So it kind of, I don't know any other, I don't know if anyone here maybe can help, because I've been searching for it. Platforms that are more like that allow children to not only learn in their own pace, but learn because they want to learn and create things from that, not because they're gonna get stars, trophies, medals, or whatever, like just because they want to.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. Gabriel, you want to introduce yourself and tell where you're from and what's your experience in online education?
Hi, thank you. I'm Gabriel. I'm from Tenerife in Spain, and I have not so much experience with online education, I have to say. I'm actually more into nature education, and I'm still very curious how, well, multimedia will impact on our children. So I have to say that I'm very skeptical, especially talking about younger ages. When they become teenagers, maybe it's another thing, but maybe talking about young children. And yeah, I don't know. I just can say that I was already a generation. We had access to computer games, for example, already, but we still had like a lot of basketball and football and hide and seek and so on. So I think we were still, well, I was born in '81, and I think we were still a generation would have both of it, at least in some, and I'm really worried about multimedia. I have to say, honestly, I'm very, very worried about that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. It is a very good point. And I think that's kind of the theme here that other people were also saying that for younger people, maybe the structured model of online learning is not the way to go, or not so interesting even. But yeah, of course they do play games, and they might get hooked into some kind of award system if that's their thing. But yeah, I really like Gabriel's approach to the nature education. It's brilliant. Yeah. So I think we are kind of running out of time. Whose workshop is next?
It's Gabriel
Gabriel's.
and Martina.
Yeah, brilliant. So you can continue with the topic. Maro, do you want to say anything about online education or yourself?
I love online education. I'm sorry. It gives me the opportunity to do many things, to learn more. I mean, as an adult. The kids don't like it very much, that's true. But they like online general. They like YouTube, they like TikTok, they like Instagram, they like Minecraft, and the list goes on. But I think online education has given huge opportunities to the whole world. But connected to, I mean, if there's a debate there, I don't know what's better to support and for which age. It's a huge subject. I am Maro. I am part of the organizing team, and I cannot attend the full session today. We had power cuts all day and I've been kicked out all the time. I'm very glad to see you all here. Marko, I'll catch your recording.
Yeah, I will stop my recording. So thank you very, very much for the discussion. It was brilliant. I got many new ideas, and hopefully you also. So I hope you stay online. I think Gabriel's gonna have a great workshop. So I'm gonna stop the recording here.
Marko, I think Zoe has her hand up. Was it